Hey everybody, this is Rhonda Novak, and my topic today is no, I don't work for free. um, I am a business strategist. I do strategy and planning for entrepreneurs, mainly young entrepreneurs. Hi Mainby and hi Carl Malone. Thank you guys for joining. My name is Rhonda Novak, and I do business strategy and planning for entrepreneurs. Sometimes they're smaller companies just getting started, and sometimes they're companies that have been around a while and they're doing growth strategies. Hi, workaholic. Love the name, workaholic. This is bad. It's bad though, but I love the name. I can definitely relate. And so I wanted to share an experience I had for both on the entrepreneurial side and for those of us that are professionals that we help or support the entrepreneurial community. I kind of wanted to share a very interesting story that happened. It's not the first time it's happened, but it's interesting the way it happened this time. And so it's all about the money. And I do financial models. I help companies really understand how much they need from investors. I understand how to forecast their growth strategy based on the numbers. So I'm a numbers girl. That's what I do. So I have a client, a potential client who contacted me and started talking to me. And I gave them my spiel in terms of the things that I do and how I could help them. And guys, I'm really good at what I do. And yes, I'm bragging, shamelessly bragging, but I've been in the business for a very long time and I do numbers well and I'm very passionate about it. So this doctor, a medical doctor, contacted me, wanted me to be his CFO. Now, that sounds impressive. Yay, that's great. Problem is, he didn't really want to pay me CFO money, and I wasn't interested in being inside of a company like that anyway. It's a new product line, by the way. It's a type of energy drink, etc., etc. So, very interesting product, though. Very good. I think it's going to do really well once he gets it up and running. But he wanted me to come in as a CFO, but he wanted me to come in for equity. What'd you say? I don't work for free. So that's the whole idea, is that he wanted me to come in for equity. And for those of you, some of you may understand, some of you may not. So when you go in for equity, what happens is they give you a part of the company to say that so maybe you get 20% of the company and then you putting in sweat equity. And once the company gets funded, in other words, this guy is going to go and he's going to raise capital. And once he raises capital, then he has a budget to pay me, but I also own equity in the company. So when the company does well, I take my supposedly lion's share at that time. Now, I've been in the game for a long time, so I know how VCs work. I know how angel investors work. I know how the whole game works in terms of how that timing looks. And so as he asked me to come into the market or into his company to actually work for free, I had to explain to him why I wouldn't do that. But now here's why this is important. And let me kind of hurry up and get through the story because I don't like long scopes. It's because sometimes as entrepreneurs, even those of us that support the businesses, we may be professionals from the standpoint of marketing or branding or that kind of thing. People always want to get you to do your thing for them for something that doesn't cost them anything. So in his mind, it really didn't cost him anything to get me. And one of the things I want to say to my entrepreneurs that I support or in our community of building your brands and building your business and really working hard is really be careful about that, because once people don't value what you bring to the table, they don't value what you bring to the table. So I definitely say to you, really think hard. If somebody makes you an offer to work for equity, and sometimes that works. Here's when it works most of the time, is if you have what we call an emerging company. Emerging companies typically are technology, something, or maybe in the medical community that's going to skyrocket. It's just some really fast moving. Apple was an emerging company. Microsoft was an emerging company. So these technology companies, some of these medical devices are emerging, where they will go really, really, really fast into the market and you can make a lot of money. But for some of the others, not so much. So if you're working with these companies that offer you equity in the company, I just really advise against that, simply because it takes a long time to raise capital. Sometimes the venture capitalists are very funny about what they want. Sometimes you don't get that equity out. It's just a lot to that story, and that's not what this scope is about, how you raise capital or what the intricate pieces of the capital raise is. But that's where it gets nasty, and that's why you really, if you take an offer like that, you really have to think through and understand. Sorry, my dog always photobombs me. He always does it. But that's where you really have to understand what you're getting into. I won't do it because I know it takes a long time to settle out. I know how the stock works. I know how they buy out and this kind of thing. It's just not, it's nasty for me. So I say, no, I don't work for free. I work for money. And so for me, and for a long time, you'll work for free because you don't know if they're ever going to raise money. It's a gamble. So that's from my side. From the side of the entrepreneur raising capital, you really, guys, if you're raising money and you don't have enough cash to pay people that you need, you have to offer people something. You can't just expect them to work for you for free and to give their all just because it's your product line. And that can happen. Typically that kind of thing happens in relationships where they've known each other for a very long time. They've been friends through high school and college, and they're just passionate. They came up with the idea together. It just doesn't typically happen over somebody you meet on the street or somebody that was referred to you. That typically will not happen. So if you're a young entrepreneur and you're trying to raise capital and you know that you need a CFO or a COO or a product manager or something of that nature, the best thing to do is either scratch up some money and pay them on a project basis until you get into the position where you can actually pay them. But typically offering them equity doesn't really work, because when you go back and you're trying to raise capital, now you have all this money that you have given out to these people who can't do anything for you. And when you get ready to go raise capital, now you've diluted your shares. And now your VCs and all of these guys that are going to help you raise money by giving you money, it gets a little nasty. So you really want to know what you're doing here. So I just don't advocate giving equity for services. I don't advocate doing any of that. I won't do it. And I am really good with what I do, but I will not do that. So I just kind of wanted to give a heads up and say, no, I don't work for free. And for me, if you offer me equity in a company that doesn't have market share yet, that doesn't have a product in the market, that doesn't even have what we call a valuation, which says how much the company is worth, that's really close to working for free. Not my cup of tea. I got to wear some clothes. I got to get the hair did. I got to get I can't do it. So, again, hopefully this makes sense to somebody out there listening, and you guys get the story of, no, I don't work for free. It just doesn't feel good to me. And I like to be able to count my money and go into the bank. So if you're a small company and you're looking to raise capital, try to find some money to pay your people. That's what you're gonna get what you pay for. Typically, if you get people who come into your organization and you're giving them equity, you're not gonna get what you think out of them. You just won't, simply because they're not getting paid. Secondly, if you're the person that's being offered that deal, think real long, real hard about how you do it. And if you decide to do it, just make sure it's contracted up and down the yin yang. So that's all I have to say for tonight. Thanks for joining the scope, those of you who dropped in, and hopefully it has meant something to somebody. And if nothing else, maybe a little bit of entertainment. It's a little serious scope for me just because it's so deep into the details on the financial side. But again, hopefully this meant something to somebody out there, and I'll check in next time. This is Rhonda Novak, and I do business strategy. I do financial planning and financial strategy for up-and-coming companies. Look me up. I'm on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter, just Rhonda16, and occasionally you'll catch me right here on Periscope. So guys, have a great night. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.